The Omnic Weekly. Welcome everyone. It is Sunday, August 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Quickly looking at my cheat sheet, and this is episode 151 of the Omnic Weekly. I am D, and this week I'm joined by a cat. Meow. Nah, let me explain. It is actually Hana. Oh my god, we tricked all of you. So, Hana is feeling a little under the weather. She has to kind of stay in bed, but she still wanted to do the episode of the podcast, which is brave. So we decided to, I can see a little cat icon right now. But I'm going to show it to you guys, but as I kind of, how do you say that? I can't think of the English word. Snap my fingers. We're going to change it into an animated cat. Watch this.
With the magical power of editing.
Exactly. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now you have a kitty cat to look at in the loop.
Yeah.
This is kind of being a little crazy. LP, I don't know. He was going to join us, but he disappeared. I don't know what happened. He reacted this morning when we said, all right, tonight's we're recording an episode, and we haven't heard from him since. So what we're thinking is that he locked himself in his car this time, and he can't reach us.
Oh, yeah. If he locked himself in his car and his phone out of his car, that could be a thing.
It could be. I mean, we don't know. He might just kind of jump in the middle of the podcast, which is going to be a bit of a mess to edit, but we'll get it fixed. And he might not, and we might never know what happened.
Stay tuned to find out with us.
I actually wanted a bit of an update after his story from last week, where he actually locked himself out of his car, but I guess we'll have to wait for that. I think that might be his tactic, because he knows I'm going to ask, and he didn't want to tell us. I think that is going to be the case. That is what happened here. But I want to ask Hana how you're feeling, how you're doing, but I think that is a bit of a, useless. We know you're feeling sick, you're feeling under the weather.
Yeah.
I hope you get well soon. It just got worse from last week.
I have, unfortunately. But, lungs gonna do what lungs aren't doing, I guess, which is working.
Well, yeah, they're working, but there's like other things happening to it, other things intervening, so
yeah.
But we'll try to get through this recording as quickly as possible, so Hannah can go back to bed, or at least kind of put the laptop aside and take a big deserved nap.
Bold of you to assume I'm looking at the laptop.
Oh yeah. Well, it's in your vicinity. Let's keep it at that.
It's on my desk. I've left it there. I'm in bed with a wireless headset.
Oh, you're going all 2023 with wireless headsets and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
That's fancy. I don't have that kind of money. Look at my headset. Oh no, never mind. It's wireless too.
Mine was a Christmas present, so.
Yeah, mine was a business expense. While we're on the topic of exactly. While we're on the topic of cats, there was someone in our comments last week. I can't check right now. I don't know. Well, you don't have your Discord open, so. That asked us.
It was on YouTube. The comment was on YouTube, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on YouTube. I don't remember the name exactly of the person that asked. I can quickly check, but they asked if they could see our cats. Well, what you're seeing right here is one of Hannah's cats, but since she's not on the camera, you can't see a live rendition of that cat. When it comes to my cats, that is an even bigger problem, because my cats are crazy as fuck. Like, there's no way I can, like, the older one that kind of roams around in this part of the house, because they all have, like, they have a part of the house that they roam in, because they don't get along too well. The other one is in the living room, so if I bring her to my office, she starts panicking because she knows the other one is around, because the other one is a bit of a terror, and Thea is a bit of a nightmare.
It was Josie Jaboa.
Oh yeah, I just found it too. Yeah, Josie. So Josie, I'm going to do my best at some point. Like the older one, I can't force her. If I pick her up, she's kind of going. Well, if I pick her up and she's not in the mood, oh damn, I'm going to pay for that. And I'm a big man. I don't scare easily, but that cat, You don't want to piss her off. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I've always had crazy cats.
The chance of you guys seeing Shadow, because I have 2 cats. One of them is Lulu. She's the one that's currently on show with the power of editing. She is an indoor cat. She's 17 years old. She goes into the garden whenever she wants. She's got like an open cat flap, but she doesn't ever go anywhere but the back garden. Our other cat, Shadow, he's semi-feral, so he lives outside, but he's been visiting this house for 10 years.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
But you haven't been living there for 10 years.
No, I haven't been living here for 10 years.
That cat is the owner of that house. You're basically Shadow's guest. That's what you're saying.
I am Shadow's. Shadow is my landlord. In the winter, he comes in and he will sleep in the house because it's cold. In the summer, you can go days without seeing him, but for the most part, he'll turn up at 8 o'clock for dinner and then leave again.
Dins.
Yeah, so you probably won't see Shadow. He doesn't really come into my room because it's Lulu's domain.
Yeah.
But you will definitely see Lulu. If when I'm on camera more, I'll get her and show you to her live.
Yeah.
So
you'll do the whole Lion King thing where you lift her.
Oh,
up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And she will just.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think if I would do that with the oldest cat, I would be dead. You would see like some post on Instagram that I had sadly come to die because of a cat incident. So I'm not going to do that. The other cat would kind of take it, but she's on the other side of the house. Anyways, enough cat talk. We're talking about cats because the weather is shit, and we hadn't had any good food, so we're changing topics.
Yeah.
No, because of the question we got earlier, which we appreciate. You guys have been awesome on YouTube. There's been the second episode did already a lot better than the first one, and the first one didn't do bad at all. And it's not like it's not like our other numbers are taking a hit. Either people are kind of listening and looking to the podcast twice, so they're listening on Apple or Spotify, and then checking out the video podcast.
I expect we might be reaching a new
Yeah, I think that is going to be the case. Yeah, I think there's definitely a few people that used to listen that now watch. But I think we have a new reach of people, and people are enjoying it. I'm getting a really lot of good feedback on the podcast.
Hello and welcome if you are new.
And if you haven't seen it, go check it out on the Omnic Post YouTube channel. We post the videos every Monday. Yeah. So for now on, every Monday you'll get an episode of the audio podcast and a video podcast at the same time. I'm releasing them at the same moment. So it's a bit later than usual, but that way I can kind of push them out both at the same time.
Push them out at the same time, yeah.
And there's some bonus stuff coming next month, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. We're working on something where you guys can kind of support the podcast or the Omnic Post in general, and that we'll have some bonus content. It's going to be amazing. But anyways, for now, back to business, back to Overwatch, because it has been, I'm not going to say a crazy week. It's been a crazy Friday.
Crazy Friday.
Yeah. For some reason, Blizzard decided yet again to push everything out at the same time. So let me list up what the things we're going to discuss today. So they released the animated short that we've been waiting for over a year now.
To be fair, that was booked in. So we'll give them that one. They booked that in weeks ago. We knew that was coming.
Oh, we knew Friday. It was coming. Yeah. But I mean...
Yeah, but they gave us a date well in advance, so...
That is the only one that we knew kind of a date on. On top of that, there was Aaron Keller's director's take, which is his blog.
Surprise.
That was going to be released last week, but it got postponed to Friday. They did another one of those sponsor streams on Friday. They released a new trailer for PvE on Friday. So it's just been a huge tidal wave of news. By the time I got to bed on Friday, I was like, come on, what the hell? I was tired as hell. I felt like I had fought the battle of, I don't know, Toronto?
Yeah, sure. You single-handedly held off the null sector.
Yeah, and I didn't need any special eyes or special legs.
Yeah, you're like, you know what?
Photoshop, that's all I
don't need to play it now. I don't need to play the story missions because I've just lived it. It's fine.
Exactly. I went through it. No, it was a spicy. Well, it kind of lasted all the way through Saturday, but look, that's what I do, and soon it's going to be my job, so I'm not complaining. But let's start out with the animated short.
Oh, it was so cute.
I watched it in game instantly when it came out, and by the end I had goosebumps. Like
always.
Yeah, but this time around it was like we've had a few good ones. Like the one with Kiriko, I also remember getting goosebumps because she's like kind of stepping up, becoming
she's so
showing her power.
spicy.
Yeah. Just basically kicking those guys' asses.
I have to admit, it made me cry a little bit, but I know some people that it made them cry a lot. Like particularly people who were like close to a maternal figure. Like it really got them, which I thought was quite sweet.
This one or the Kiriko one?
Kiriko's.
Kiriko, yeah, with the mother. It does kind of
tug on those heartstrings.
Yeah, it does. And then sorry.
No, it's alright. I'm gonna be really rambly today. I'm really sorry.
That's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna go off on so many tangents.
Tantrums, okay, fine. Go for it.
The last short, I think, my favorite is Diva's one. It got me in so many feels. Like, oh my god.
You know what it is? It's always the music that they could put under it that kind of they kind of lift the whole experience to a new level. This time around too, like there were a few things in the whole short. I'm going to sound like such a dick now that I was like, oh, this is a missed moment. And overall, look, this is my favorite, maybe my all-time favorite animated short they ever released. Although the Paris one was epic in another way. But there were a few. But it's just the music kind of. They can on some things they can kind of drop the ball a little bit, just a tiny bit. But they lift it up with the music so much. Like I was talking to Hilda about this yesterday. Like that one moment. If you haven't seen it, stop listening right now because we're going to talk about it. Just want to warn you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, to be honest, it's been out like 4 days now.
Come on.
It only is like 6 minutes. Go check it out.
We really appreciate that you've chosen us over the short, but you've made a mistake.
yeah. Go check out the short and then come back. But that moment when the ships kind of come in and that they notice that rumbling sound, you see the camera pan up and there's this lamp above her, the classic crystal lamp, you know, with all the little glass elements. And that would be awesome if you would hear that ling 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 sound and you saw them vibrate a little bit. And you look up and the thing is just hanging there like, nope, not doing it. Fuck you. No. I wonder if they wanted to do that, but that they had to cut it for some reason or because the crystal chandelier, Jesus, I have such a difficult time coming up with the words today. But the chandelier, like they pan up as if they're going to have it rumble and like, you know, that typical when something approaches that Jurassic Park field, you know, with the cup of water. I was going to say
the Jurassic Park moment, the cup on the dashboard.
Exactly. Like they have the chandelier kind of do that. That would have kicked it.
It would have made you wet yourself. Just oh my god.
It would have been perfect. And this is the other moment where she says everything is connected, and it was like at the end she says
it's all connected.
It's all connected. Like that was such template thing to say at that point. But no, I'm being very nitpicky. Overall, it was so good.
It did pull me out a little bit.
Yeah.
It broke the immersion for me a little bit, but I still really enjoyed the short.
It did. It was really good. Like that moment where she just kind of... there was someone in my community, Scorpio. If you're a part of my community, you know him all too well because he's kind of the weeb troll. Like he's an amazing dude, but he is always kind of getting himself in trouble in any way possible. That's why we love him so much. And he made this comment on Twitter, like, why is she wearing glasses? She has cybernetic eyes. She does not need glasses. Why is she wearing them? I was like, yeah, actually, I don't like saying this, but he has a point. And I retweeted it, and Jared Neus got on top of it, and he was like, hey, why? She just makes it look cool, right? because he's wearing glasses himself, and then his fanboys kind of jumped on top of it, and it was kind of a funny conversation about those glasses. Well, one, he kind of had a point, but we didn't have all the information, and two, for me, it was more of that. I don't like that I have to agree with Scorpio, but he has a point. That was kind of an added value for the community. But then it turns out that she can enable and disable it at will, and if she has it enabled, that her eyes start glowing blue, and that it's not something that she wants to kind of have at all times. Yeah. She just sometimes wants to kind of be more subtle with it, and then she has to disable those eyes, and then she needs the glasses to see. And it's not about looking cool; it's about not sticking out too much.
I feel like, I'm sorry, in the Overwatch world has some brilliant quality of life cybernetics and stuff.
Yeah.
Surely they could have had a you can see without your eyes glowing option.
Probably, but maybe she couldn't afford it. She spent so much on the rest of her body because she is top to bottom. Look, if you would ask me which part of Sojourn is actually Sojourn, I would know. I think it's just
can't tell you.
I think it's just a brain and a whole, because her whole face is augmented. We actually could see her body, her torso hanging on a rack. We know her legs and her arms are fake. So I don't think there's a lot of original parts to her anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe she spent so much on that she couldn't afford the normal looking eyes anymore. But I mean, now we're kind of the same comment as I had on the tweet, or the intent of the tweet. We're kind of pushing it. We're kind of, I'm not going to say we're making fun of it, but we're kind of toying with it. We all know that it's just kind of a look. It works. That moment when she takes off the glasses and her eyes start glowing blue.
To be fair, it's a very good way of as a genuine and serious point, it's a very good way for her to live her new identity.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
the Toronto vibe is also a part of that, because apparently that is a very hipster city. As we noticed, the opening of the whole cinematic was
that coffee was so cute.
And the guy that made the coffee was this humongous, probably former military guy.
Yeah.
That, I'm going to do a whole video that goes in depth and all these small details this week. I have it planned for Tuesday or Wednesday. It's going to be. I look forward to doing this, but there's so many details in there. But that guy, he does it with his fingers, so he also has his hands are augmented, and he just has coffee making hands. So he has foam fingers. He just put his index finger and his middle finger in there, and he makes a froth for the coffee, basically, or he froths the coffee, and it looks like a puppy. And then she orders 2 of them, which is a detail that you kind of not necessarily pay attention to when it happens the first time, but later you understand.
Because you assume that there's going to be someone at home, but then you realize she's just expecting it.
Yeah, she knew that Noah was going to be paying her a visit, that she was in trouble, basically, because she was not allowed to do any mercenary work or any vigilante work. The Petrus Act kind of prohibits. Yeah, they prohibits them from doing anything military or kind of weapons. That sounded like a huge thunderstorm on your end, but you were coughing.
Yep, sorry, I didn't mute in time.
You're not allowed to do anything military to pick up weapons, and she did, so she was in trouble. She knew it. A lot of people were kind of wondering, me included, when I saw that first trailer, is that going to be Sam, who is the former partner of Anna and the father of Farah, because he is also from the indigenous nation in Canada. But it is another indigenous person from Canada.
And she explicitly looks at him and says, Noah.
Yeah.
Which is another way of saying, not Sam.
Not Sam, exactly. I do think they might be related in some way, but like I said,
that would be a cool tie-in, but also they don't have to be related because,
Look, there are some situations if Anna because Anna and Sam, I don't think they were ever married. It was kind of that more passionate relationship that resulted in a a baby called Fariha, who ended up becoming Farah. But maybe he was married before that. Maybe that is Farah's older half brother, or maybe he is the brother of Sam, the younger brother of Sam. I feel like at some point he looks up and he looks at three pictures. There's a picture of Sojourn and her puppy, which is beyond Murphy is, I think, the most popular thing that came out of this whole animated short.
Because Murphy is amazing.
Yeah, she looks cute. And then she also has augmented legs, by the way. Did you see that she has
She
like
does have back legs.
Yeah. On the other side, there's a picture of her former team in the Canadian Special Forces. I don't think she was in the picture. It was kind of hard to tell because she was way younger back then, and with all the augmentation she had, I don't know how much she still looks like when she was younger. There were a few women in that picture, but it's kind of hard to tell if that was her or not. And then, but there was one guy that looked like the Canadian Reinhardt. He just had that. He reminded me of the guy that made the coffee, but I think it was someone else. And then in the middle was a picture of the original Overwatch team, which was Reinhardt, Torbjorn, Jack Morrison, Gabriel Reyes, and Sojourn, including Hana. And he looks at that picture at the moment that she says that Murphy is a good judge of character, and then he says something like, yeah, sometimes people miss the ball, and he looks at those pictures. So someone in those pictures or something in those pictures makes him...
He does not like...
Yeah, I think he's not a big fan. Which, if he is a child from Sam's former marriage that got broken up due to Anna, I can understand that there might be some resentment there. Or maybe it is the brother and he resents her for breaking his brother's heart. There's so many things that could be in that one single shot. That
I know it could also be like a reference to Soldier, because he is so breaking every single like law put in place every time he steps out of his house.
But they all are. Like he showed pictures of Reinhardt, like, and
Jack does it the most.
Yeah. Well,
and like the most openly, I think. But
the question is, Hannah, we know that Jack is Soldier 76.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like in the world and the lore, do not know. They still think that both Gabriel Reyes and Jack Morrison are dead because of the explosion.
That's true. I keep forgetting he's in quotation marks dead.
Yeah, he's dead, and so is Anna, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
That seems to be a common thing that happens in the Overwatch ranks, where people were presumed dead.
You fake your death so that you can keep doing Overwatch thing.
Yeah. But he does have a lot of information, although it took him like 4 years to decrypt the Winston message. Isn't it like 4 years between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2? In the lore?
Possibly.
Yeah, so it took him 4 years to decrypt Winston's original message where he kind of did the recall. I don't know. Maybe he has information about Jack Morrison, and he might know about that he's still alive and that Gabriel is still alive.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, the reason why that came to my mind is because, Noah seems... I mean, he makes the right call at the end, but, he's very clearly there to arrest Vivian.
Yeah.
Like, and they know each other. He seems quite comfortable in her home. He knows the dog. And yet he's still, like, prepared to arrest his friend because that's what's right. Yeah. So he would definitely, if he knew about Jack, he definitely wouldn't like him, in my personal opinion. No.
And I think like Sojourn kind of hints at that she used to be the same way, but that she learned that it's not that she regrets. She actually says she doesn't regret her decision. But she definitely she has a different standpoint now, clearly, as we have noticed. And I think he kind of points at or mentions at some point that he kind of started working with the agency because of that decision that you made back in the day with the UN. So yeah, he might be a little tight in some well, how do you put that? Like in some ways, in some of his choices, he's kind of
I just think
very
he's
beautiful.
a very by the books.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think Soldier was back in the day, or Jack was back in the day too. Now he might not be as by the books as he used to be.
No, I don't think he cares.
Yeah, no, but back in the day, he actually had a lot of conflicts with Gabriel Reyes, and the whole incident at Rialto and whatnot was not by the books, and he was really upset by that. And that kind of broke them apart and was kind of the start of the downfall of Overwatch. So I don't know. I think that's just the thing. There's so many questions, so much lore that we kind of can shift through, or that we kind of interpret in our own way.
I'm not gonna lie. This is how in detail you could go with these videos. We're just making like this long discussion about one comment. The first time I watched it and he said, yeah, well, sometimes they get it wrong, I didn't notice that he'd looked at the picture and I thought he was making a comment about himself.
Oh. Well, he might have, but yeah, he definitely
like,
is looking at the pictures.
She liked me and she's wrong for liking me because I'm about to arrest my friend. That kind of thing.
Yeah. No.
I'm about to arrest your mum. I'm so sorry, Murphy.
She knew that he was there to arrest her, and he knew that she knew that he was there to arrest her. I think that was very clear in the whole interaction, the whole kind of, okay, let's just get this over with. She actually says it like...
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
let's just get to the destination.
Yeah, because all this kind of... this courtship is not necessary. Both know what happened. It's the reality. And then Ramatra comes in like, hey, stop. And then things just kind of shift in a completely different direction. And that moment...
That's a direct quote.
Yeah, exactly. That is from the deleted scenes in the animated short that you guys didn't see. And that moment that he kind of turns to her and goes, what are your orders, Captain? It's like, yeah, that was like a goosebump moment. That was like, okay, we need to fall in line.
Like, that's how you do one-liners, not the it's all connected, but what are your orders, Captain?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole connected thing was weird. Yeah, of course, those Omnics that you kicked out of that, and I think it was a metro station.
What do you mean before. Null Sector are connected to Null Sector?
Yeah. The freaking Omnics, they're all connected. But anyways, I think what she actually wanted to say is like, oh, those guys yesterday, they were just here to scout. There's something bigger going on. But they just brought it back to, it's all connected. All right, fine. But like, we're being very nitpicky. Me specifically.
We are. We loved it. We're not taking away from that. We both very much liked it, and it was very fun.
It was. And that is something that Overwatch always gives everybody on the same side of the fence at that point. With these animated shorts, like I did a poll on the Omnic post on Friday, and there's like 8% of the people that said that they didn't like it. And those are like, I mean, there's generally going to be people that didn't like it, that maybe it didn't go far enough, it wasn't long enough, or they just don't enjoy the story. I mean, that is perfectly normal. But there's definitely also going to be people in there that are just pissed off at Overwatch. They just said that they didn't like it because they don't want to kind of give them any credit. So I'm very confident that, let's just say 90% of the community, above 90% of the community, just enjoyed the hell out of it. And that's what they do. Like, they make really good cinematics and animated shorts.
They do.
And yeah, then you get the comments like, all that money they spent on that, maybe they should have spent it on the PvE. And I'm like, all right. Well, this is part of PvE, let's be honest. But there are some other things that people are commenting on, and that I can understand that they feel like, is this necessary? Like the whole, maybe let's do a little segue here, Hannah. So in the last few weeks, they have been teasing on the streams of some content creators by just taking over the streams and doing these layovers. And they had hinted at this character called the Enigma, and we had kind of already figured out that was going to be John Cena. The community, like the whole Cartius community, had done some amazing work on that, and we were all fairly certain.
Like, once again, well done for that, because I would have had no idea.
Yeah, if you're not into John Cena, like there were some hints in there for John Cena fans that stand out, well, in a big way. There were a few hints, like my brother is a WWE fan, and he found some stuff. He's not in the least interested in Overwatch, but because I sent it to him, he was like, "Oh, this is the opening tune for him," and blah blah blah. But yeah, we were fairly certain, and then on Friday they kept building on that, and it ended up with basically an ad for Overwatch Invasion, the next expansion, featuring John Cena, where he's kind of playing this figure and the Enigma that is warning everybody about the upcoming attacks by Null Sector. At some point, he's kind of rummaging through weapons of Overwatch heroes, which also doesn't make a lot of sense lore-wise. Like, why would this guy be kind of collecting weapons from Overwatch heroes that are underscaled? Like the Reinhardt hammer was about, I don't know, 60 centimeters, 70 centimeters.
It was a size, okay?
Yeah. But this is not intended for us. This is not intended for the people that already play Overwatch on a daily basis. This is an advertisement campaign that's going to be used. You don't
bring in John Cena to please fans you already have.
Yeah, exactly. This is just to draw in new people. The same way that they released the game on Steam starting next Thursday. This is a campaign that is going to be shown on YouTube, on television in the States, maybe in Europe, and in theaters all over the world, just to kind of get everybody hyped and to make people curious that don't play Overwatch about Overwatch and about this new expansion, to get them in there. Yeah. What is this Overwatch 2? And like we talked about this last week, but this signals the fact that this is the end of the early access that they never talked about. But then people are like, well, did they need to spend so much money on this? Why didn't they spend this money? They canceled PvE, and then they spent all this money on this campaign. Well, let me make one thing very, very clear. I don't think the cancellation of PvE was ever a money issue. I've talked about this in a video. You can have all the money in the world, but you can't just magically have a whole component like the PvE they had in mind work, kind of have it spawn because you have the money. It's not like you can keep adding resources, because at some point your team becomes too big to kind of handle. And there's, I mean, that's one part of the story. The other part of the story is that the shareholders and the Bobby Kotick's of the world kind of take part of that money and kind of run off with it. And there is the marketing campaign, which is important. They need to bring in new people. I think that for any live service game, but also any game in general that is working with a PvP component where you need to match up people, I think it is important to get a lot of new people in there.
Yeah.
I mean, we can complain all we want about the matchmaking, but the more people we get in the game, the better the matchmaking is going to be. The less games you'll get stomped, and the more balanced it will feel, because there's just going to be a lot more players to kind of match you up with. So, I mean, in general, I believe very strongly that this campaign was necessary to kind of, one, bring in new people, two, to kind of send the message out to the existing community, like all that bullshit of cancellations, bad news, that is behind us. Now we're looking forward and we're going to build something. And no, they couldn't have spent that money on PvE. That is not the way it works. That is not the way that money goes around, or that you get a project done. They made 100 million in the first quarter. I think they're set when it comes to money. Yeah. It's just more of an organizational issue, and other stuff that we've talked about aplenty in the past. I'm not going to bring up again. But how do you feel, Hannah, about John Cena being the face for Overwatch Invasion?
Like that.
Do you have a problem with John Cena? Well, you can't see him. Is that it? You can't see him. That's
I am not fussed in the slightest.
Yeah. I mean,
like, don't get me wrong, I understand how popular he is, and I understand like the amount of memes around John Cena, and if you want to get attention, hiring him to do something for you is a very good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just personally don't care.
Understandable. I it's not like I have how do you say that? I enjoyed some of his movies that he did. I've seen him perform live as a wrestler many years ago, but it's not like I have the. I don't know. Like there's definitely other actors or other wrestlers out there that I would have been more kind of that would have impressed me personally. But I do think for this campaign, that is a good fit. Like you said, I think he is a big enough name to kind of make this resonate.
Yeah.
Much like they did back in like I've talked about this last week, but those World of Warcraft campaigns they did back in the day where they had William Shatner, they had what is his name? Troy Bernard, like the mini-me from Austin Powers. I can't remember his name.
Troy Baker.
Was it Troy Baker? No, it's Troy Ferner, I think. Or something. Yeah?
I don't know. I picked a name.
Oh, you just picked a name. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a lot of these famous actors, Mr. T, that were kind of big back in the day that wouldn't work right now, that wouldn't work today. And people really like those ads because it kind of, I don't know what it is. It kind of gives you that feeling like this famous person also enjoys what I play. You know what?
It's an endorsement, effectively, from these people. Like, yeah. I know technically it's just a job, but it's also like, oh, this person that I look up to and that I think is cool is involved in something that I like. Yeah. And they are giving their approval to something that I like. That's cool.
But also, when you hear that certain celebrities play the same games that you play, which makes sense. They are just like normal people. They're just famous, but they also play.
I mean, how games. Crazy did people go when people found out that Henry Cavill liked Warhammer?
Yeah, exactly. Or that he built his own PCs, or that he played World of Warcraft. That he almost missed one of the biggest auditions in his life because he was kind of doing a raid with his guild or something. I don't remember exactly how that story went, but
something. He's a big nerd.
Yeah, we knew that Mia Kunis, for instance, also played a lot of World of Warcraft back in the day. I don't think she plays it anymore. She has 2 kids. But yeah. Yeah, exactly. These kids, man.
I have a life. I can't play games anymore.
I don't know. It kind of works when you see famous people kind of connecting with your fandom and kind of being part of your fandom. I don't know. It adds certain relatability to both those people and the thing you're doing. I don't know. It's weird. We as humans have a weird fascination for people that, if you think about it, like some people will go crazy if they see someone famous in the street. Yeah. What is being in the vicinity of that person going to bring you good fortune? Is it going to put like $1,000 on your bank account for every second you're near them? Because in the end, if you think about it, we kind of put this weird fascination on these people, but they're just kind of people that other people know. Like people know who that is. Like I saw that person that you know about. Like, all right. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody else when I see some celebrity. I will nudge Hilda and go, look, I will never, like this, especially in Belgium, we're very subtle in that. If we see a celebrity walking over the street, you do not, like, I think Russell Crowe was in Brussels recently, and he was just walking on the Grand Place, the Grote Markt, like the big square in the center of the city. Yeah. And he doesn't stand out as much as he used to, in the sense that he got older and people don't recognize him as fast. But he could just walk around there, because Belgians in general are not like, oh my God, can we have your picture? They're like, oh, look at that. That's that person.
And they just walk on. Like there are certain areas of London where you can do that as well. For example, there's a cafe on the way to where I used to work that was one of Keanu Reeves' favorites. Mm-hmm. And we like more than once in my time working at that place, I had walked past him, just sat out there. Yeah. Because it's so long as you don't go to like the really heavy tourist areas of London, the rest of it is just full of Londoners working, and they do not care who you are.
leading their lives. I mean, they will look at you, but they're not going to harass you. Or
Like,
maybe it's
so
like
we'll look
subtly
and we'll notice, but like nothing will happen.
Yeah. I feel like in definitely in some parts of the world, not pointing any fingers, that is impossible. Like they can't just walk the streets, so people will just kind of, especially people with cameras. But that's a different story. But anyways, it definitely will work. This whole campaign, I think it is interesting. I think it's an interesting time. I think August 10th is feeling more and more like the official release of Overwatch 2. Also the effort that they're putting into communicating and the marketing campaign in general, and it just feels like something that we had not had with Overwatch in a really long time. I'm talking about at least 5 years, where they kind of showed their pride for the product that they were making. Apart from the people
it's really nice to sort of to have the devs be excited about the game with us, not just kind of watching us from afar, not saying anything.
Yeah, and just kind of putting some effort in there to kind of bring in new people to kind of do the whole marketing thing. We've talked about this plenty, but they're so like up till now the marketing has felt a little non-existent just in general, and it's good to see that kind of change up. But so I think we can officially close down the whole early access thing. Is that going to change a lot? Yes and no, I guess. There's still going to be a lot of things that we're not going to be happy with as a community in general. But we're definitely also going to see, I think, bigger steps being taken forward. And as new people join in, and as funds raise, and as they add new and more new people to the team, and slowly grow to a point.
Leave.
And as certain people leave, that's definitely going to happen. But like the development team is still going to grow over the next few years, just at a healthy pace, and not just kind of ram in 400 or 500 new people just to make PvE happen, but more on a natural growth. We'll see more content flow out, and we'll see. I mean, that is my big thing now with Overwatch. We'll see. I kind of reserve my judgment till I see everything kind of unfolding. And one of the things I'll be kind of giving my judgment is, of course, going to be PvE when it releases next Thursday. But we got a new trailer showing off the storyline of that PvE mission, and it was the most how do you say that? The best trailer they did. Yeah, it kind of set the story in a very clear way. It kind of showed the most of what we can expect. It got people involved. It got people hyped up that didn't expect to get hyped up, as I've noticed in the comments on some of the posts that I did. That people were like, "Oh shit, this trailer is actually good," and people are very precise about that.
I'm interested.
Yeah, but and understandably so. They kind of, this trailer is interesting. I hope the gameplay is just going to be as interesting, which is understandable that people are hesitant to kind of get too hyped up about what is to come.
Yeah, I mean, as an interesting point of view, like I watched the trailer and was like, God damn it, I'm so hyped. Yeah. But especially because I'm like, come on, Bobby, get out the door. I need to buy this. Come on, get out. Yeah. Get out so I can play this, please.
The end of the month, most likely. The end of the month.
Oh, he better be.
It's up to you guys.
I showed it to my housemate who doesn't play Overwatch. He used to play WoW, but with me, he's very much in the I'm not going to give Bobby Blizzard a penny until Bobby is gone. And he watched the trailer and he was like, okay, I can't lie. That is a good trailer. And he has never shown interest in Overwatch before.
Yeah, it is a good trailer.
He was like, I have my reservations because I don't know that the gameplay is ever going to be as fun as that trailer.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are worried about.
Yeah, I hope for you that it is, because he's not going to play, but he knows I will. He's like, I hope for you that it is, but I feel like you can't make the gameplay as exciting as that trailer.
Yeah, I think he has a very good point, but we'll see. One thing that kind of to that whole, to kind of build on that, or to kind of build his case on what he's saying. Like, we know that a lot of content creators have been playing it in the last few weeks. They have been getting access to a test build, and I presume that PvE is going to be part of that. On top of that, they had their the Creator Summit in Anaheim this week, which they're very peculiar on who they invite to that summit. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I saw a few sort of names that Blizzard have been friendly with who didn't get to go this year.
Yeah, but also some people like if you don't, they are very, how do you say that, discriminating on what they consider to be content creators. Like the fact that we have like 160,000 plus followers on Instagram doesn't matter jack shit for them, and the same goes with the guys from Calvary that have like, I don't know, 140 by now on Twitter. It's just like, but anyways, that is a different story. They just invited a bunch of people, and I presume that they got the presentation and they got a lot of stuff to see about what is going to be released in August. And back in the day, I remember the last time that happened was like 2 years ago. And then all these content creators came back and they were kind of hyped. They couldn't say anything because they have an NDA that they signed. But they were able to kind of go, oh shit, guys, there's some amazing stuff coming. Now, there's two options here. Either the NDA, which is actually three. Either the NDA is a little more strict than it was before, and they can't even mention the content if it's good or bad. They just can't say anything about what they saw. They can say that they have fun and they can share pictures of that week and the fun they had. But the other option is that they're kind of worried about doing that again, because last time it blew up in their face. They were all so excited and they were like, guys, the things they showed us, it's going to be amazing, and that it turned out not to be as amazing as they kind of hyped it up to be. Or three, they're just not feeling it, what they saw. They're not like, I'm going to say it probably is the first one that they were kind of told. Like,
yeah, I'm going to, especially because I know that you didn't want to share the information on it.
Mm-hmm.
There were some leaked things about a certain upcoming hero.
Yeah, and about some skins.
Yep, and from what I'm aware, Blizzard were not happy about it.
Yeah, they're never happy when these leaks happen. Definitely.
So considering something big has just been leaked, I imagine that a lot of creators are being very careful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't post about all of these leaks because I don't feel that adds a lot of value to my brand in the end. And on top of that, all these people have been putting in the hard work.
No, I completely agree with you for not sharing it. I just didn't want to go into too much detail about it because you'd chosen not to talk about it.
Yeah. I was getting to my point being that oh shit! Now I lost my train of thought. But that's it.
It does.
Do you know who initially leaked the skins? So the mythic skins and the skins that we got to see.
No, I didn't look into it in too much detail.
It was their own president, Mike Ibira, that leaked it.
Oh, Mike.
He took a picture of the front entrance of the campus. And you know that they do these kind of workovers where they kind of style the whole entrance in the style of whatever the last time was Diablo, now it was Invasion. And you could see the new mythic skin that is going to be released and a few of the other skins on there. That is the picture that he shared. I'm not going to say who was on there and what they looked like and whatnot. I'm not going to give any information, but those were pictured on there. And he shared that picture that morning when he came into the campus. And I saw it and I retweeted his picture, but I knew this is kind of weird. But look, if it's Mike that posts it and I just retweeted it.
Maybe it's a new weird marketing thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's see how much new information you can spot in this picture.
Yeah, I don't know what their plan was, but I just kind of retweeted it. I didn't make a post about it because I knew the risk was that this was a mistake and that when he had to pull back the tweet, it would be pulled back on my side too. So I was safe in that end.
Yeah, if it's just a retweet rather than a post about it, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because it's the president of Blizzard, let's be honest. So
yeah, because people high up, they don't make mistakes.
But 15 minutes later, it was revoked, and then I deleted my retweet because it didn't point to anything anymore. And then there was a content creator that leaked the new hero and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, they need to be more careful. They need to look into who they're working with. I think sometimes it's kind of weird, but I have a whole. I could do a whole rant about that, but I'm not going to do that. It kind of sad when that happens. It sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, by Thursday, everybody's going to know. So in the end, it's a whole temporary thing. To be honest, like when Mike did that tweet, we didn't know yet that the Ana skin was actually the mythic skin, because we didn't know Ana was going to be the mythic hero. We know that now from official channels that Ana is getting the mythic skin, so that is public information. So I was kind of like, why don't they just lean into it? I mean, they just teased some skins, whatever. Lean into it. I think we're just a week away from it. Give it a little push in the back. But now they didn't. And now I understand why, because one of them was a mythic and they didn't want to kind of... but hey, I presume that we're going to see... it's not even going to take till Thursday. I think I wouldn't be too surprised if tonight or tomorrow we see a trailer popping up where they are kind of... Oh, look at that. Someone is at the appointment. Can you see my screen, but my camera?
No.
Look, you'll see the tail right there. That's her.
Dun, 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 dun.
No, she's out of focus.
No.
Microphone. But you can see her for a split second.
Sweetie, come back.
She's talking to me like, yeah. For the people that are listening to this podcast and don't have the video on, I'm terribly sorry. But we'll just move on. But anyways, we got to see the new trailer. That was a bit of a hype. And then we got the director's take, which is Aaron Keller's blog that he does every few weeks. And this time around, he talked about balancing for season 6, which is, of course, a big part of every season where they start rebalancing. But there wasn't anything. He highlighted a few, like 8 of them, of the changes that they're doing. And all of them are kind of like little retunings of old nerfs or buffs that they did at the end of the mid-season patch.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that was like...
Yeah, the Sombra rework was pushed back. Or the Sombra rework wasn't pushed back, but it's not coming in this season. It's coming in season 7. So that would have been the big thing. Roadhog would have been another big one, but I guess that is even later. One thing they did say, which I think was an important message that he said in his director's take, is that they learned from Lifeweaver's release that he was underwhelming at release, and that they're not going to make the same mistake with the new hero, that they're going to keep an eye on her and make sure that she's not too overpowered, but they definitely did their best to make her as viable as possible. So people not only play her because she's new, but also because she's a good option to play. And that makes sense. I mean, if you add a new hero, everybody wants to play her, but if that hero is not viable, you're basically kind of sabotaging all the games that are happening, because people are going to play him no matter what. They don't know that he's not viable yet at that point. And it's already difficult enough with the fact that people don't know how to play that hero, especially in his case. Lifeweaver was not an easy hero to get used to. And I saw some comments of people, I mean, this is the point where I am with the community, that said they're making the new hero viable to have more people play the game so they can make more money off it. Like, everything is just at this point going back to they're milking us, which is, I mean, they're making money out of players playing this game. It is a business. But this is a discussion you need to kind of... You can't bring every little change they do back to that discussion, because it's a discussion on a whole new level, on a whole different level. Everything that we do, nothing is for free. Everybody is kind of trying to get money out of our pockets. And
unfortunately so.
Yeah, and look, even hospitals. Like, this is kind of on a... I'm going on a tantrum, or kind of going off script here, but I heard this story of a lady that lives in the States, and her baby was born prematurely for quite, I think, at least the baby had to be in the hospital for a few months. And she ended up with a bill that was close to $1 million. And I can't but wonder, I can't imagine that the stuff you need to get that baby alive, and kind of the medicine you need, kind of that all comes with a cost and all with expenses. And with $1 million.
No, I mean, a friend of mine, Kyla, who listens to this podcast, hello, sweetie. She mentioned a little while back they had to call an ambulance for her partner, and it was something like $19,000 for an ambulance.
There is
There's no way on earth the petrol for that ambulance costs that much.
And the wages of those people, and the payoff for all the material, and like those ambulances are used on a regular basis. And that's just it. We're getting kind of used as money cows from, like, on a global scale, from your water company to the gas, like the gas you pump for your car and whatnot. It just makes a lot of other people wealthier, and that is just the sad truth that we live with. But you need to distinct those crap ass corporate fucks that definitely need a reality check, and that definitely will have their. There's going to be a moment when it's going to blow up in their face, but it's just not there yet. We need to distinct that from the people that put in the love and their attention, and they're wondering, like, how can we make this the best experience for our community? And you might not believe this, you might choose not to believe this, but that is a fact. Up till the end of this month, I still work in the industry, and I've run around in this industry for many, many years. And I've met so many passionate people. I've also met assholes that are just out to make a quick buck. And I put those people aside very, very fast. You recognize them very, very fast too. You can pick them out of a lineup very, very fast. And about 90% of them fail. Maybe 95% of them. But the 5% that do, they get really rich, and those are the people that we need to watch out for. Those are the dangerous ones. But I've also, and the bigger part of the people I met, I'm not going to say that I also met, no, the bigger part of all the people I met at conferences like GDC or even Gamescom in Germany, that is happening in 2 weeks, all people that are very passionate about the games that they make. And then same thing goes for Blizzard and for the people in Team 4. They just love making this stuff. They are not waking up every morning and thinking, all right, we're going to make Bobby some money.
How do I scam my player base today?
Yeah, how can I make sure that they all have and that goes up to the level of like Aaron Keller or like the whole management team. They just want us as a community to have a good time and to have a good game. And they have the obligation to also bring in some money because, wages need to be paid, people need to be paid, officers need to be paid. But then it kind of escalates into this situation where it just becomes a tool to pay shareholders and people that don't do anything to those games. But you need to distinct those two. And you don't need to distinct them in the way that you spend your money. I think you are fully, like Hana does, for instance, you have every single right to choose not to give any money to Blizzard, and that includes to these developers, because you don't want that money to go to see all the way up the ladder. I think that is your right, and I can understand that. I think that is a very smart choice, or a very beautiful choice to make. It is good for your karma. Let's just keep it at that.
It is, yeah.
But my point is, like, do that if you want to do that, but don't lash out at the developers and make claims about them being just money grabbing bastards, because they're not. Those people that work on the game, that work in Team 4, are not. And if you want to piss off Bobby Kotick and his, you don't have enough time to do that. I mean, in less than a month, he's going to be without a job, and he's not going to care because he made so much money that his family doesn't have to work for generations to come. You can vote, or you can kind of have your voice heard with the money that you spent, and don't expect other people to do the same thing. By the way, I've also seen people commenting like, "Why does this community not understand that the only way we can send a message is by not playing or not paying for the game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, but that is your opinion. That is what you think is right. That is what you want to achieve. Don't expect all these other millions of players to follow you. I mean, you need to do what you need to do with your money. Don't tell anybody else what to do with their money or with their time. That's not up to you. You can't kind of generalize it in that way. That is not how it works, and that is not how humanity ever worked. Otherwise, there would be no wars. I mean, can you imagine? Jesus, I'm going off script on a tantrum like really hard here. But can you imagine the millions of people that have died in human history? Billions of people that have died because one dumbass decides he doesn't like the other one on the other end of the river, and he wants them to kind of die. And he doesn't go by himself. Look at it. What is happening right now in the world? It's just some people, dumbasses, that benefit from sending other people into their own death. And those people do it. Why? Because everybody decides for themselves what they do with their life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that was... I think it's about time we end this podcast, because if I keep...
Probably.
Yeah, if I keep going in this direction, this is going to become some kind of political podcast.
I mean, we've been there before.
Yep. I mean, I have my opinion on all these matters, and it just pisses me off when I see people kind of making these remarks, or kind of like every time that Aaron Keller or Jared Nurse tweets something, the kind of replies. You basically get these two huge groups that become very active. You have the fanboys that just will defend either gentleman to their death. That is just kind of lashing out at everybody that even comments on something or that they interpret as being a comment on these people, which is also insanity. But then you have these other people that is just kind of adding these comments that don't make any sense, that bring no value, that don't get your voice heard, that don't make sense, that are not true. It's just you need to distinct. You need to look into it. You need to do a little more research. You need to understand how it all works and how these companies are built and what the struggle is of these developers every single day, because they love making the games, but they also kind of have to undergo the scrutiny, and they know that sometimes these things are used in a way that that it's not in the best interest of the people that play the game. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that ever, well, there might be some, but I think the bigger part of the artists that may end up making the skins, going from concept artists to the people that do the textures, the animations, that they give a single fuck that this skin needs to be $20. I think they would willingly part with it for 5 or for 10 or even cheaper than that. They don't care. They just love making these things for you guys so you can play them.
Yeah.
But then there's other people that decide that they need to cost that much.
And that's like, for me, that's like it's a big thing about why I am sad that I can't pay for Overwatch right now. Like, if I miss out, that obviously is disappointing, but I'll get there eventually.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't like is that I can't support the devs at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that my choice to take away from Bobby Kotick is also taking away from the devs. And I would love to thank them for the work that they've put into the game. And as soon as Bobby is out of the question, I'm going to be like, here, take my money, take my appreciation for, like, hours of my time that I have spent on this game. And, hours talking about it and appreciating it and enjoying the novels and the content and the animated shorts that you've been making. Thank you. Here.
But you're already doing that. Look, Hannah, you shouldn't look at it that way. Like I said, those people don't give a fuck if you spend money on it or not. They give a fuck about you enjoying it and having a good time while playing the game.
But I enjoy it so much, team. Thank you.
And that is the most, for those people, that is the important part. There's two things important: that we enjoy their content, and second, that they get paid in the end of the month. And there's plenty of other people that make sure that they get paid at the end of the month. So you shouldn't feel bad that you don't spend any money on the game, as long as you enjoy it. And I mean, as long as you don't spit in their food and tell them to fuck off, you're not doing anything wrong. But that's just it. I think everybody should be able to kind of put their money what they want to put their money. And if you don't want to spend money on Overwatch, don't spend any money on Overwatch. That's
no, I'm not going to until the point. I just really do. It's something I enjoy doing with games that are live service. If I am still playing it past a certain time, I like to give more money to them because they are still making content for me.
Yeah, but I think
I just want to do like
fine.
my bit to help, like keeping it go.
You're doing your part, Hannah. You're doing your part, and you shouldn't feel too bad about it. I think you're doing your part on different levels, and you chose not to spend that money. And I think everybody that chooses not to spend the money, I can only applaud you, because I do. But I don't, like, less and less at this point. But part of it is because I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
Another part is sometimes because I like some stuff, and but that's good. Like, as long as there's this balance, and as long as everybody understands that it doesn't help by flaming individual developers, by harassing people, by sending death threats, by sending direct messages that are just kind of painful to watch, and to kind of shit talk every little release that they do, every little thing, and trying to twist it into some dark plan that they have. They're not Illuminati. They're not like some dark organization. They're not no sector. They're just a group of people that enjoy making games, that have a few people above them that definitely
enjoy making money,
and that are definitely working on a different scale. And that is supposed to be happening. They're going to be shifting from one group of money grabbing people to another group of money grabbing people, but the big difference there is going to be that the new group of money grabbing people grab their money on different places, on other places. And
so they don't have to wring it from us.
They don't have to wring it from Overwatch and Blizzard games and Blizzard in general.
Because they're wringing it from their Office subscriptions and companies that need them to keep like old versions of Microsoft and with Windows going.
Let's be honest, like the fact that Microsoft is still investing in Xbox and in Xbox, I mean, it is, if they would just be out to kind of squeeze us for every single penny we got, I think they would have a lot of better ways to do it than the way they're doing it right now. They definitely made some strategic choices that didn't help them out, but at this point, I think there are some people around here that still have a passion for games, and that they get other ways or other things out of gaming that are in no way related to us, the consumers, that we don't even understand right now, that we don't know. Like, Jesus, you don't want to know like this whole new thing about AI. You don't want to know how everything that you're doing is feeding AI all over the world. Like every little thing you do, like I read recently that Elon Musk plans to kind of use, what used to be Twitter, as a tool to feed his AI. Like it's just everywhere. They're making there's so many ways that they can make money off us. But anyways, again, I'm going to stop talking about that shit. It's Sunday. We need to chill. But that was it. Hannah, are you still awake?
Just about.
Okay. I'm going to let you rest because we're going over time. Hannah, can you tell these lovely people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter because I'm a rebel.
Yeah, there we go.
That plush noodle.
I don't know. I just can't bring myself to saying X either. I don't know.
I don't want to tell people to find me on generic porn site, okay?
You can find me as Deemzies TV on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm going to record a new after this. Actually, after I edited the podcast, I'm going to record a new video for the Deemzies channel, which is going to be fun. Me going off on another rant. Make sure to follow LP on Lance Upons on Instagram and Twitter. The Omnic post for all your updates on Overwatch on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. And yeah, go check out the video version of the podcast if you haven't watched it yet. It is on the Omnic Post YouTube channel. You can also follow the Omnic Weekly on Instagram and Twitter if you want to know when there's a new episode every Monday. But the best way to do it is just to kind of be subscribing on whatever platform that you're listening or watching this podcast, so you get notified by that platform as soon as we upload an episode. I think that is the smart thing to do. All right. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see and hear you guys in the next episode. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Bye.